Hello again, everyone. I'm your coverage content coordinator, Glenn Jones, here at StarCityGames.com, and this is our events manager, Jared Sylva. We're here to preview the Baltimore Invitational and Open Series that's going on this weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and let Jared get started.
All right, our Invitationals are the most exciting events of the year. $50,000, you had to qualify through an Open Series or an Invitational qualifier, and we're going to be starting up on Friday at 11 a.m. this time with 8 rounds of the Invitational. First 4 rounds will be standard. Second 4 rounds will be legacy, and if you can get a 5-3 record in day 1, you're going to move on to day 2. Start up at 9 a.m. with another 8 rounds, this time starting off with 4 rounds of legacy, followed by 4 rounds of standard. And we're going to wrap up with a top 8, which will be legacy on Sunday.
It's a lot of legacy rounds for you guys, so hopefully you have a good deck. We're also going to be running a full Open Series weekend alongside the Invitational. We've got the Standard Open on Saturday. We have a usual Legacy Open on Sunday, along with Draft Opens. And we're running a lot of side events as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're going to be open on Friday, we're going to have a full slate of 8-man and commander pods. We also are going to have, at 7 p.m. on Friday night, we're going to have a standard challenge. 4 rounds of Swiss. Prizes are going to be similar to our legacy challenges and modern challenges, where you can win some store credit if you get a 4-0 or 3-0-1 finish.
Sweet.
Just like other Open Series weekends, we're going to have our Modern Challenge at 2 p.m. on Saturday. We're going to have our Legacy Challenge at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And you also have 2-headed giant events that are throughout the weekend on Saturday and Sunday as well.
Excellent. We've got a special treat this weekend. We have Magic illustrator Matt Stewart along for the ride. He's illustrated Narcomoeba, Rootbound Crag, Core Firewalker, all pretty heavily played cards from history. I know Rootbound Crag and Narcomoeba are actually getting a lot of play right now.
Absolutely.
We're also going to have Altruis on hand, right?
Yeah, we're going to have a ton of Altruis doing all sorts of alterations. We've got Lindsey Burley, Mike Fairservice, and Joe Leschner, who are going to be doing 3D cards. Those are absolutely spectacular for generals and tokens, because you don't have to shuffle them in with your deck, and you can get some really neat modifications. We also have Eric Klug, Brandon Brown, and Josephine Sang, who are all going to be on hand doing more traditional style alterations, turning your Force of Wills into jokers and such.
That's 6 Altruists, for those who weren't keeping count, so a lot of Altruists. We'll have SCG Live going as usual if you can't make it out to Baltimore. Obviously, we hope you can, but if not, you'll be seeing it from home. We'll have 3 commentators for the first time this weekend. It's going to be Sam Stoddard, Joey Pasco, and Jake Van Lunen. You probably remember Sam's debut in Dallas just a short while ago. He's coming back for more. And we're going to have even more video features for you as well, as we're going to do interviews and deck techs, stuff you haven't really seen yet. You want to follow the action on Twitter, make sure to use the hashtag SCGInv. That's the one we're going to be using all weekend, not SCGBalt or anything like that. So if you want to communicate with us, the commentators, sound off about the event, SCGInv is where you want to be. Thanks, Jared, for joining me.
Absolutely.
And up next, I'll have Jerry talk about some strategy.
See you in Baltimore.
Hello again, everyone. Still Glenn Jones, your coverage content coordinator, and here with Jerry Thompson of GerryT fame. And we're just going to talk some strategy about the formats for this weekend, which are, of course, Standard and Legacy for the Invitational. Standard was pretty interesting in Sacramento. It was a strange top 16, I would say. We had a lot of different decks doing well. Esper Control, Freets, Zombies, Green-Red, but we didn't see much from Delver.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Do you think Delver's going to take a back seat at the Invitational, or are you expecting it to do very well?
No, I fully expect Delver to be like one of the most represented decks and probably the best performing deck overall.
Very interesting. What kind of Delver do you foresee being successful?
All sorts. Like, Costa's build is fine. I think Geist of St. Traft is a lot worse now with all the creature decks running around.
Okay.
It's hard to actually connect with that thing. And Green-Red and Zombies both have clone effects to just kill it. And that kind of thing hasn't been around too much up until now, so that's why Geist has been so good.
That makes sense. We had the Esper Control deck that won Sacramento, of course, and then there was Junk Tokens, which is a deck that's been sort of slowly picking up steam. And these are both very Planeswalker-based control decks. Do you think that strategy is just starting to gain ground against these creature decks, or what?
Yeah, I think Liliana, Soren, and Gideon are all pretty good against the creature decks, just because like they all kind of help you stabilize. They're not like Jace the Mind Sculptor or anything, where it's just like you play it and you win the game basically, but it's all like these incremental advantages over a course of a bunch of turns, and it's really hard to beat, especially if they have like 2 Planeswalkers in play, some Lingering Souls tokens, and like a Vampire. Like, which one do you attack and why? And it just puts like a lot of tough questions to your opponent. So I think that might be one of the reasons why it's doing well and why it probably will continue to do well.
What do you think are some of the keys to beating those sorts of decks?
I don't think there are a lot of Oblivion rings right now. Me and Mike talked about this earlier on GerryT, and I don't know, like the decks don't have a lot of synergy or anything. They're just like a stack of good cards, but no one can really interact profitably with your good cards. So
that makes sense. Moving on to Legacy, we've got Tom Martell won Indianapolis with a pretty interesting take on Stoneblade.
Yeah, his deck ended up being pretty good. I watched a lot of his matches being played, and it seemed very good. And before the tournament, I was making fun of him because I mean, his list was pretty loose. Like, his numbers didn't make any sense, and that's kind of what I was like ribbing him for. But also, like, Lingering Souls and Legacy, really, you know. But it's actually good.
So do you expect to see a lot of it at the Invitational this weekend?
Yeah, I think anyone that is playing blue-white basically has to concede the fact that Lingering Souls is a good card, and they should probably be playing black too. Interesting.
Another deck that recently debuted was Blouses, which won our Sacramento Legacy Open. Yeah. It featured a lot of hexproof creatures and
Unstable Mutation.
Auras, Unstable Mutation, Spectral Flight. And most of the deck is actually modern legal, if I recall, barring like very few cards. I think like Daze is the big one.
Yeah.
So do you expect this deck to also show up with some performances? Or
so I went online to see what was going on, you know, check the coverage, and I'm looking at all the lists, and I'm just like, oh no, this deck, I'm just gonna get crushed by this deck in the Invitational. Like, I can see it already. So hopefully I don't play against it. I think some people that are sickos are gonna pick it up. You know, they're just like, I'm gonna smash someone, and it's gonna be awesome.
Someone relying on swords and Snapcaster Mages, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And Troll Ascetic does not care very much about either of those, so I'm pretty scared of that deck, actually.
Interesting. Well, that's it. We've got some new contenders for Standard and or old contenders for Standard and some new contenders for Legacy. So we'll see you at the Invitational and see what happens.